workout done. This Verkerk Volvo, pop this on here. So I've started the repair process. Basically so I can get the rest of the chassis finished and then work on the cab, which I have started to make a start on various bits there, so there is little videos coming on that. Now, I'd painted the tanks and I've got them reinstalled. Now, I'd already gone through that in a video, and that is basically exactly the same installation method as this tank here. So here I've had to make some repair work, as you've seen in one of my update videos, if you did see that video. It got beat up by Henry Hoover, so I got my own back and I beat him up. Oh, prick. So yeah, there's a lot of like extra glue here, should we say, but I did this yesterday and it all seems to have held up pretty well. Now, before I go and get this tank in, like I say, I've had to do this, and there is also my cab latches. Now, they snapped clean off the brackets here, and you can see where those are like meant to seat, if you will. And I've not really had any joy, and I'm not comfortable with just gluing them. So what I have done is I've got some little bits of old parch tree, these little bits here, and what I shall do is glue them underneath like so. It's the perfect gap. I've gone through loads of little parch tree just to find the right one that fits perfect. So when I then come to glue that, I can actually glue that underneath and it can act as like a little chock. So then I know it's got full rigid support. So before I even think of gluing them in place, I'm going to get this tank built up. And I'm going to go through that with you because there is little points to take note of. And then I can get that fitted into here that I've repaired. And then I'll proceed to add these. I just don't want to risk knocking them off again while I'm fitting that tank, because you really don't want to go there. It starts getting frustrating. So do the tank, we'll get that in, and then we're going to repair these, and then that is basically the chassis like complete for that stage, apart from a couple of little bits such as the Susie mount and the air tank and the cab latching and stuff like that. But I can't go no further with those until I get these mounts on, because these all bolt up to the mounts themselves. So I'm going to get this done. This chassis, this, might just do it in one swoop video now, then it's done, and then we can move on to the cab, because I've kind of figured out what I'm doing with that, but we'll save that for another video. So in the meantime, the tank. This tank. Now, what do I always tell you guys with this build? Be patient, take your time, read through the instructions over and over again, triple read them, continue just reading them, read them backwards, read them any direction you can, blah 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 blah. What do? I do my repair work yesterday on the truck. I construct this tank together and I forget this all crucial little part, which is a tiny little nut that must be glued in there somehow, that you can get the thread through the topper part of the where I've done a repair job over the tank bracket to then hold the tank up in place within the chassis. So me being me, I do my repair and now I'm excited. The build is on the move again. Glue it all together, put everything in, and then as I'm looking at this thinking, surely this can't just stick on with these tiny little bits here, like, and just rely to hold on with that. But anyway, this is a model kit really, which can be converted to RC. It's yeah, it's very delicate. So I have to then pull all this apart. You can see where it's being glued and stuff, and then put the nut inside. So that nut's now set overnight. That ain't going nowhere, I don't think. I've got that nicely in there. So step one for this, in the order of the manual, gluing this to this like so is actually step one. Now I would rather glue this bit on. Now that's the order I did it. I did it that way, and I was going to do that last, mainly because you have to handle it to get it to sit and seat, etc, etc, and the chances you could just knock that back off. So it doesn't affect it in any way whether it's glued now or later. I'm going to glue this bit together like so. Just make sure those holes there line up nicely. You can see where the glue and where I've filed and the little mess it's made. Luckily that is hidden within that. That's the point which we'll glue up next. So again, I'm just going to run a thin layer of glue around the inside of here. Doesn't matter about it running on the inside, but we've got the glue there, so just make sure it's in all the lip. I've already done this once. So now we want to line those two grooves up basically, and one just seats into the other. So now what we want to do is make sure that this, by just rotating it slightly, is perfectly squared. And then all I'm going to do now is put a weight on that and leave it for the glue to go off. So the little nut survived that being clamped together. I was a bit unsure if once I'd pushed the plastic together that might have fell out, but yeah, I'm so glad. So now it's gluing this back on. If any of you are using this Humble poly cement, maybe wear some breathing apparatus or something, because my head's been a bit good. I don't know, but that's all gone off anyway. So keeping it like with the rectangular piece, because that's the side that this is going to glue onto. You can see that the one with the lip, it's not going to glue on there, it's going on this side, and then that's going to glue in there like so. And I'm going to do it this way around, with that down on the table, and then I am just going to seat that on it in place where it goes there, and then again just add like this or something, just to add a little weight onto it. Little blobs on top. That's the tank all set, all the glue's gone off nice. In the meantime, I've been editing up this video, so now we can get this actually into the chassis back on this. So I'll go through that with you, and then as this video is dragging out a little bit, I'll do the actual repair work in the next video. So I'll do that straight after this. All I've got to do is let a bit of glue dry once that's in place on there, and then I can, yeah, it's coming together nicely. I can just proceed then back with the manual as it was, and yeah, it's exciting. So if you remember, I said when I'd this up that I was missing a nut. Now that nut is for good reason, because in the top of the part which I've currently repaired, there is a little hole there to take a nut, sorry, a bolt to go through to thread through the nut, which will then clamp this tank up in place. You do have to slide it in through a little slot here. That's what the lip's for. So I've just like ground that down a bit just so as that it goes in easy, due to the repair work that I've had to do and the glue in there. So it's pretty straightforward. I just hope that that nut lines up now with the bolt, but looking at the size of the hole in there, you've got a little wiggle room to play with, and the second that your nuts or your bolt's got a bite in the thread and it's in there, I suppose it wouldn't really matter if it was to break off the glue within the tank, because if you've got a bite on it, if it was just to lift it up a bit, you could then just carry on tightening. But there's not to say it's not going to waggle free at a later date, so I would recommend adding a little bit of Loctite before putting your nut into there. So yeah, it's straightforward, but may just be a little bit fiddly, and then in the next vid we'll do these bits. In the manual it's showing to add glue here, so as that it'll bond to the side of this. So now just be careful not to break it all over again. Up another notch. And boom. Success. Oh yes. If it's something I could just wedge in between here to create like a little clamp. There we go. So that's now creating pressure against here, so that's going to stick to there nicely. And looking at it, where I have positioned the nut looks to just line up perfectly. I don't know if you can see that. Will you stop laughing? She does his laugh. Ask Dave. Right, so here, XV148, I don't seem to have it. Now I've either took it out and misplaced it, but in there I have an XV142. I have found an alternate, but it's a flathead, which is not the best considering you got these nice scale looking bolts and stuff. If I come across it, then it'll be too late because it'll be glued over, so I suppose it doesn't really make any odds. So let's stick in this thing. Little blob of thread lock. Oh, look at that, lovely. That blob of blue tack is just there just to, like I say, the plastic's flexible and it just keeps everything spaced apart for now until it all like glues together. Oops. So the last part for this video is just gluing this onto here, and it shows just to like run glue around the silver bracket and around the edge there, and then just stick that down. Oh. Glue. Want this to set flush with the top of the chassis and also the top of the tank, the square part. Now I'm just going to leave that. Well, that just about wraps up that one. Got quite a bit achieved considering. So without dragging it out, like I say, I'm going to finish the other repair in another video. Ooh. I haven't added any weight to the top of that. I don't want it to slip out of position of where it is. So I can finish editing this up while that dries, and then we can move on. Like I say, I've got next stages laid out here and things, so it is all ready to go, pretty much in order as to where I was originally up to in the manual according to this. And once I've got the cab plate in and stuff like that, the airflow plate, we can then move on to the cabin and the interior, which I'm really looking forward to doing, because that interior it's nice. So thanks for watching, guys, and I shall catch you in the next video. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ping the notification bell. Ciao for now, guys.